Hackers are completely taking over DBD, with almost every single game featuring at least one of the survivors hacking and using cheats to their advantage, rendering DBD completely unplayable, or at least that's what some people may have you try and believe. The whole hacker/cheater talk has been something in the DBD community for a long time now, and something that I believe to be blown well out of proportion. As with any multiplayer game, hackers and cheaters can occasionally be found whilst playing DBD, but over the past year or two this has definitely become a trendy topic to discuss, resulting in more casual and impressionable players to believe the hacker situation is way worse than it actually is. I've even been accused of hacking myself at times from a couple of different viewers on my main channel, with one or two people saying how they noticed that I'm moving a few percentage quicker in the comment section. Anyone who is an experienced DBD player or even seen a decent amount of my content will instantly be able to tell how ridiculous these accusations are, but it is something to keep in mind how impressionable some people can be, which may result in them not only accusing content creators of hacking, but it's also very likely that these same people will call out hacks whenever getting outplayed and accuse many different people that they play against of being hackers and or cheaters. The same thing could also be said for the whole de-ranking MMR trend that has been spreading around, where viewers accuse content creators of purposely de-ranking their MMR to get worse killers or survivors, but for the most part this is definitely just copium, and this is also a topic for another day. As far as my personal experiences go with hackers and cheaters in DBD, I've only ever experienced maybe 2 or 3 different hackers myself, the most noticeable of which is a video still up on my main channel from back in 2021 where I played as Leatherface for a video. This content was recorded off stream, so it's highly unlikely that I was purposely targeted by a hacker in some kind of attempt to ruin my games, but rather just a really random encounter that could have happened to anyone. In this game I spawned in as Leatherface only to find another Leatherface right in front of me, which was kind of hilarious at the time. There were only 3 survivors in the game, which obviously meant that a hacker was in the lobby as a survivor, only to then spawn in as the killer. Also keep in mind this was years before 2v8 was ever a game mode added into Dead by Daylight, and this video is actually still up on my main channel to this very day for those that are curious about it. I'd also love to hear from you guys about any times you have experienced an obvious hacker, so feel free to let me know in the comment section down below, or even let me know if you've never experienced a hacker. But with over 5,000 hours in DBD, the fact that I can only pinpoint one time says a lot about how blown out of proportion this whole hacker trend is. Maybe I've just been extremely lucky and that's why I do have this opinion, but also my friends haven't had many or even any experiences with hackers either whilst playing DBD. Either way, definitely let me know if you guys disagree, and I'm definitely curious to hear about your experiences with hackers, or rather lack of, in DBD. Obvious hackers are one thing, but subtle hackers may be much more harder to detect, especially for those lesser experienced DBD players, which also leads back to my point earlier about some players calling hacks on random players with little to no evidence. I definitely feel that calling hacks and or cheats can often be a way for people to deny the reality of losing or getting outplayed in DBD, or maybe even a way for them to cope with the fact that certain content creators may be better players than themselves at the game, so they'll just accuse that content creator of using hacks and cheats themselves. Don't get me wrong, there are definitely hackers in DBD, and perhaps behavior could do more to address the issue, but like I said earlier, every multiplayer game does have the same issue with hackers trying to ruin the fun for others, and as a result the whole hacker trend is definitely blown way out of proportion and rather become just a trendy topic to discuss, resulting in lesser experienced players or more impressionable people to believe it's way more common than what it actually is. Larger streamers will have this issue way more often than the average player, since many hackers want to troll and get reactions from certain streamers. After all, the main reason hackers even cheat in the first place is to get reactions and attention from others. I'm actually not 100% sure if there is a way for cheaters to locate and force entry into a specific streamer's lobby, but if not, then a simple anti-sniping screen would be able to completely fix this issue. An anti-sniping screen is a measure streamers, particularly larger streamers, can put into place to prevent snipers getting into their lobby. It essentially covers the screen and or plays some form of background music to prevent people clicking ready up at the same time as the streamer to get into their lobby. If hackers do in fact snipe certain streamers this way rather than rely on software, then this would make it 1,000 times harder for hackers and trolls to target them. If I was a larger streamer who was targeted by certain hackers to make it their mission to ruin the stream, the first thing I would do is use an anti-sniping screen to prevent this, rather than just immediately start to complain to behavior and pin all of the blame onto them. If a hacker did manage to find a way into a larger streamer's game, even with an anti-sniping screen, assuming there's no kind of software to automatically force entry into that streamer's lobby, this would be a huge coincidence and something that would only happen on extremely rare occasions, and could also instantly be resolved just by disconnecting from the game and moving on to the next game. Obviously, this solution only applies to one-off games, and the DC penalty would prevent you from doing this multiple games per day. Like I said earlier, I'm actually unsure as to whether or not hackers do have some kind of software to force entry into another person's lobby. Feel free to let me know if you're aware as to whether or not they do have this, as this could definitely be an issue for larger streamers if this is the case. Although I definitely doubt this is the case, and I believe most hackers just simply snipe to get into a certain streamer's lobby. But please do let me know in the comments down below if I am wrong about this. Another thing streamers could do to prevent this from happening is use the anonymous/streamer mode setting, which hides your in-game username and instead shows other players the name of the survivor or killer that you're currently playing as. For example, it would just say David King or the Wraith instead of your username. Whether that's your PlayStation username, Xbox username, Steam username, or even Nintendo Switch Online username. This, combined with other measures such as an anti-sniping screen, should pretty much ensure that you'd be safe from any hackers and or cheaters if you are a streamer that's currently being targeted. You could also use a VPN if all else fails and the hackers are still somehow finding a way to get into your games with a software or some kind of other measure. Either way, there are definitely tons of different measures to put into place to completely shut down any hackers attempting to ruin your games or ruin your streams. I definitely think this trend is blown way out of proportion and could actually have negative effects on the DBD community as a whole. For example, putting unnecessary fear into more impressionable players wanting to stream themselves. Not only that, but it could have the complete opposite effect when trying to stop hackers, and instead encourage even more trolls and hackers to start using hacks and cheats of their own, since more and more attention is being brought to these hackers. In conclusion, there are definitely hackers out there, but in my opinion, nowhere near as many as people try and convince others that there are. The vast majority of DBD players just want to jump on and have a great time using some of their favorite survivors and killers with their favorite perks. Obviously, as with any online game though, there will be hackers and cheaters out there who try and ruin the experience for others, and even some that will target streamers just for some attention. But there are so many different measures that you can put into place to either reduce or completely prevent hackers from targeting you in the first place. As I said, I would definitely love to hear from you guys in the comments down below and read about all of your different experiences with hackers yourself. As I said earlier, I've only seen a few hackers myself, with the only noteworthy one being the Leatherface game, as talked about earlier, and that is coming from someone with 5,000 hours in the game. Maybe I've just been extremely lucky, but I also do use the anonymous mode when I'm playing DBD, so that also could be another reason why. But 5,000 hours is definitely a decent amount of time to sink into any game, and I really do feel that the measures that we've discussed, such as the anti-sniping screen, the anonymous mode, even the VPN, and even a last resort, you know, if you're able to DC, I'm not sure, you might not be able to DC, it depends on how the hackers are, what kind of hacks they use, stuff like that. But even as a last resort, maybe having another game open, something like that to play if you are stuck in a game, held hostage. Obviously, it's not ideal, but it could be a last resort. But if you do put all the other measures in place, it shouldn't even come close to coming to that. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. I definitely, like I said, I definitely think it's really blown out of proportion. And yeah, it's nowhere near as bad as some people are trying to make out, some people are saying, and some people are being scared that they're going to get targeted if they do stream. Like I said, from my own experience, barely ever experienced any hackers. And by the way, I will leave a link down below in the description or pin comments or something to that Leatherface game if you would like to go and watch it. It was from 2021 on the main channel, so I will find that, put a link down below for those of you that are curious, like I said earlier. But yeah, a bit of a different one today. Hope you guys have enjoyed it though. I want to do more of these sort of discussion based videos. So yeah, like I said, do hope you've enjoyed the video, and as always, I will see you all in the next one.